Stillwater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Jackson swings, hits it in the air, deep to right field. He has done it again. Unbelievable.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Schilt.
Ultimately, what we're here to do is win.
From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today, the Padres take on the Seattle Mariners in the final game of a three-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today on the mound for the Mariners, right-hander Brian Wu, and for the Padres, right-hander Michael King. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 1:10 p.m. as the Padres try to avoid a three-game sweep at the hands of Seattle. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Schilt. We'll also hear from today's left fielder, Gavin Sheets, and we'll hear from today's starting pitcher, Michael King, in a little while as well. And we'll also check in with Padres radio voice Jesse Agler in just a handful of minutes. But first, it's time to set the table. Brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa, Vista, and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres are 27-17 entering today. They're now just 2-4 in their last 6 games, although the Dodgers continue to lose against the Angels, so the Padres do enter today just 1 game behind LA for first place in the National League West. Padres started the season 14-3. Since April 15th, they are actually 13-14. Mariners, meanwhile, entered today 25-19. They also sit atop the American League West. It was the middle game of this 3-game series last night. Let's quickly rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Padres last night. Emerson Hancock on the mound for Seattle. Both starting pitchers were good early on. They got the game to the 4th inning scoreless. That was until Gavin Sheets dug in.
Sheets sends this one high and deep to right center field. It is way back, and it's going to go. Home run, Gavin Sheets over the San Diego Zoo sign in right center field. Big boy territory for the Padre first baseman, and they take a 1-0 lead.
6th home run of the season for Gavin Sheets. That's all the Padres scored in the 4th inning. Pivetta took the mound for the top of the 5th inning. Rowdy Tellez led off.
Tellez, a left-handed batter, and swings at the first pitch, sends it high and deep to right center field. This one is back and gone. Almost the exact same spot as Gavin Sheets' homer in the bottom of the last inning. This one less of a line drive, more of a towering fly ball, but nonetheless, Rowdy Tellez leads the yard for the 2nd consecutive night and a 1-1 game here in the 5th.
With the straightaway right last night, tonight goes right center.
Pivetta went 6 innings, allowed just that 1 run. Adrian Morejon entered from the Padres bullpen to begin the 7th inning. Cal Raleigh led off.
Raleigh will turn around to bat right-handed. And the first pitch from Morejon is launched in the air deep to left field. Hayward is back at the wall. He's looking, and it's going to go. Home run for Cal Raleigh. 2nd straight night, he leaves the yard. And another ambush home run for the Mariners. They take their first lead of the night. It's 2-1.
That's all the Mariners scored in the top of the 7th inning. In the top of the 9th inning, Alec Jacob entered, trying to keep it a 1-run game. The Mariners loaded the bases with 2 walks and a single. That brought up Dylan Moore.
Mariners with a big-time threat here. Bases loaded, 1 out. First pitch swinging, lines it over Machado. That's fair. And up the left field line. Raleigh has scored. Rosarena on his way. Hayward's throw will not be in time. A 2-run single for Dylan Moore. And the Mariner lead is now 4-1.
That would be our final score yesterday. Mariners 4 and the Padres 1. Padres going 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position in yesterday's game. We'll talk more about those issues with runners in scoring position in just a moment, and that'll be in our keys to the game today as well. Again, first pitch coming up at 1:10 here at Petco Park. If you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a number of different ways. You can find me on X or Instagram at Sammy Lev, SAMMYLEV. You can also comment on our 97.3 The Fan YouTube stream. Let me know, what is your key to today's game? May just read your key to the game coming up a little bit later on during our pregame coverage. Let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Jesse, it's been a very quiet couple of days for the Padres offense to begin this series. Just one run on Friday night, just one run last night. What do you make of the offensive struggles for the Padres so far against this Mariners pitching staff, despite the Padres not seeing the high-end guys of this pitching staff, both due to timing and injuries? They'll get one of those here today. We'll talk about Brian Wu in a moment. But your take on the Padres offense so far in this series?
Yeah, I think this is going to be very unscientific in terms of my answer, Sammy, but I'm going to say it's just something about the Mariners, man. You know, and whether it's their top-end guys or these guys who, as you said, are not, it just seems like in recent years, whenever these teams have gotten together, it's kind of looked like these first two games. Padres have won a couple, but they've generally been tight, low-scoring games. They pitch really, really well. And, you know, what impressed me was Logan Evans on Friday night, because we've seen Hancock a little bit. We kind of have an opportunity to know what he is. But Logan Evans, he looked like all their other guys. And I know there have been ups and downs, and I know he's just kind of getting rolling here in his big league career, and I'm sure he's going to have some terrible days on the mound. But watching Logan Evans, their starter on Friday night, he might as well have been Logan Gilbert. He might as well have been Bryce Miller. It was just kind of that same free, easy, here you go, you're probably not going to square it up kind of thing. And their pitching program is legit in Seattle. It really, really is. And look, the Padres have pitched pretty well in the series also. It's just, the home runs have been a problem. And look, Cal Raleigh right now, I mean, I think we said in the first game of the series, probably the best catcher in baseball. You can make a very easy argument right now. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. And he's done his thing here in the first 2 days.
Yeah, he's been outstanding so far in this series. We'll talk about Cal Raleigh a little bit more coming up later. Let's talk about the starting pitcher for the Mariners here today, Brian Wu. He is one of those really, really excellent young starting pitchers. Has had a really nice start to his season, just 25 years old. What can you tell us about Brian Wu and his season so far, Jesse?
Yeah, he's another one of their guys that's really fun to watch. You know, he's not hunting strikeouts. He's in the strike zone all the time. Ton of first pitch strikes. Not going to walk a lot of batters, and just survives getting a ton of weak contact. Another guy that's really, really hard to square up. And he takes full advantage of the environment in Seattle. You know, I mean, his whole career, which isn't long at this point, but he's been, almost unhittable at T-Mobile Park. And we saw that last September. He took a perfect game into the seventh inning against the Padres that Fernando broke up with a home run. He's a guy, funny because this is not who he was in college, not necessarily who he was at the start of his minor league career, but he's just a guy who knows how to pitch. And again, if you like good pitching, this is a lot of fun. Guys like Brian Wu and Michael King going head to head as they are today.
Yeah, Michael King on the mound for the Padres, obviously in the midst of a very, very good season in his own right. Jesse, after today's game, you guys head to Toronto, 3-game series against the Blue Jays beginning on Tuesday. You'll get to enjoy an off day tomorrow in Toronto. I understand it's Victoria Day tomorrow in Canada, so I'm sure that'll be fun. I just want to make sure you brought your passport with you today, right?
Yes, the passport is packed. We've got passport baseball coming up 3 days in Toronto. I know the Jays are an interesting story there. I know Victoria Day is a big deal. In fact, I think we've once played them on Victoria Day before. I have a vague recollection of doing a bunch of Victoria Day research for the broadcast. But I'll tell you what, if the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight beat the Panthers in Game 7 of their second-round playoff series, ain't nobody in Toronto going to care about Victoria Day, the Padres, or the Blue Jays, because they are starved for the Maple Leafs to make a deep playoff run, which is not something that's happened in a very, very long time. So the eyes of Ontario are on Air Canada Center tonight at 4:30 Pacific time. We'll see what happens.
How about that? You know what? Good you're dialed into the hockey because I had no idea, to be honest with you, that the Maple Leafs were playing tonight against the Florida Panthers. Wow, Game 7, Round 2. How about that? All right.
Against
so a lot
the
going
defending champs.
That's right. That's right. Wow, a lot going on in Toronto today. Padres getting to town and the Maple Leafs playing a big Game 7. Jesse, as always, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Tony for the series finale against the Mariners coming up at the top of the hour at 1 p.m. Thanks so much.
You got it, Sam.
All right, Jesse Agler joining us on our Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game. Padres trying to avoid a sweep against the Mariners. In fact, the Seattle Mariners have not swept the Padres in a 3-game series or a series of more games than that, a 3 or 4 game series. They haven't done that since 2006. And as we know, the Mariners have done very well against the Padres as of late. Mariners have won the first 2 games of this series. They've now won 11 of the last 14 meetings between these two teams since 2022. In those 14 meetings, by the way, since the start of 2022, Mariners have outscored the Padres 62-33. So Jesse alluded to it. It's been tough against the Mariners for the Padres last few years. Padres also looking to avoid their first 3-game losing streak since late April. So hopefully the Padres can avoid a sweep today at the hands of the Seattle Mariners. Certainly they got the guy on the mound to do that here today in right-hander Michael King. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Schilt. Plus, we hear from Michael King coming up a little bit later as well. We'll take a full look at the Padres starting lineup. It is an interesting lineup today, so we'll discuss that when we return on our Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show right here on the Padres Radio Network.
Stay tuned to the
Our Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 1:10. Series finale between the Padres and the Mariners. Padres begin a 6-game road trip after an off day tomorrow on Tuesday in Toronto. 3 games in Toronto, 3 games in Atlanta. But first things first, Padres trying to salvage this series finale against Seattle after losing on Friday and Saturday. It is Military Sunday on the Padres Radio Network, and as always, it's presented by your San Diego Toyota Dealers Association. Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, no cost maintenance standard, so you get peace of mind standard. As we get ready for first pitch coming up at 1:10, let's hear from Padres manager Mike Schilt.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Schilt. Served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Day game after a night game, so no pregame media availability for Mike Schilt today. So Mike Schilt, as always, talked after the game last night. Padres losing 4-1 to the Mariners. Nick Pivetta was solid in that game. 6 innings, 1 earned run given up on 2 hits. For most of the game, it was either 1-0, 1-1, or 2-1. Cal Raleigh, a 2-run home run Cal Raleigh, a solo home run in the 7th inning to give the Mariners a 2-1 lead. They got 2 more in the 9th inning to make it 4-1. That would be the final score. Seattle 4 and San Diego 1. Padres had plenty of opportunities against young right-hander Emerson Hancock and the Seattle bullpen. Padres went 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. So very winnable game last night, but Padres lose 4-1. Here's what Mike Schilt had to say after yesterday's loss.
Mike, can you start with Nick and then kind of also just, there were a lot of opportunities, and then to have that really good performance and not be able to make something.
Yeah, pitcher's duel kind of again. Their guy was good enough, clearly. Nicky was good as well, threw a lot of strikes. Another solid, really good outing from Nick. Tellez answers right back after Sheety does his work and, gets the momentum back on their side. But, he got us through 6 innings and left in the tie ball game, and I thought he threw the ball very well.
You've now had almost 2 months with Nick in the rotation. Like, what have you kind of gotten to learn about who he is as a pitcher? He's been pretty excellent aside from that one start at Coors.
Yeah, I've enjoyed getting to know Nick. I've enjoyed it's a nice sign. It's a good addition to our club. Has fit right in, has the real competitive spirit that we like. And this guy gets after it. He wants to win. Everybody wants to win, but this guy gets after it. And he's looking to do it. Good worker, again, partnered with Ruben and the starting pitching staff to continue to look to where those next levels are. And he's throwing the ball very, very well. Been very consistent and just a good guy too. High character guy that likes to, he's a good teammate, and I can't say enough good things about him. He's been a great addition.
Take us through that 7th inning. What did you see from Morihone?
I got ambushed by a guy that just kills us. If Cal Raleigh could miss the trip every now and again to play the Padres, that'd be great. We turned him over to get him on his not as strong a side, switch hitter, and he's done some damage against us on a little bit more on the left side. And I hadn't seen the pitch, but made a pitch and he put a swing on it and got it elevated. So I thought Adrian's stuff was coming out good. He threw strikes. That's the one thing you can't fault. Guys are going to hit a homer every now and again. He came out, pounded the zone, got a soft base hit the other way. Got his man in Solano, and at that point it was just keeping it right there with Estrada, with Moore, who's really pretty good against lefties. So he made one pitch that they put a swing on, but Adrian has been and was good. Just they got it out of the park.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt earlier, or I should say last night after the Padres loss against the Mariners. We'll hear more from Mike on our post-game coverage coming up later on this afternoon after this series finale with first pitch again. Coming up at 1:10 p.m., Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building here on what is turning into a very, very nice Sunday afternoon here in downtown San Diego. Look at the Padres lineup here today. It looks like this. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field leading off. Luis Arraez at first base batting second. Manny Machado DHing today, a day off his feet in the field. He's batting third. Jackson Merrill in center batting cleanup. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop batting fifth. Gavin Sheets making his second start of the season in left field. He's batting sixth. Jake Cronenworth at second base batting seventh. Elias Diaz behind the plate batting eighth. And Jose Iglesias getting the start at third base and batting ninth. So again, some adjustments in the Padres lineup from what we've generally seen here today. Machado DHing. Gavin Sheets getting the start in left. And Jose Iglesias in the lineup playing third base. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
In the hot category today, we take a look at Luis Arraez, who is batting .361 in his last 8 games with a couple of extra base hits. Arraez enters today just 1 point shy of 300 as far as the batting average. Arraez entering today at .299. Not category, we take a look at a few Padres. Jackson Merrill, Jackson, tell you what, going back to last year, real rarity that Jackson is in the not category, but his last 4 games, he's only 1 for 16 with 6 strikeouts. A couple of notes here on Jackson. Of the 10 balls he's put in play in the past 4 games, just 2 have been at an exit velo of 95 miles per hour or harder. And for context, 11 of the 17 balls he put in play after coming off the IL initially were nearly 100 miles per hour of exit velocity or greater. So it's just rare to see Jackson even go 3-4 games without hitting the ball really, really hard. We'll see if Jackson can get it going here today. Jason Hayward batting just .121 in his last 33 at-bats. He did have base hit last night. Hayward coming off the bench today. And Jose Iglesias, as we said, in the lineup today, batting ninth, playing third base. He is only 1 for his last 21. And that's a look at who's hot, who's not as we get ready for today's game here on the Padres Radio Network. Let's take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
We had very, very big news earlier today. Phillies reliever Jose Alvarado has been suspended 80 games without pay for violating Major League Baseball's drug policy. Alvarado tested positive for exogenous, or I'm not saying that right, exogenous testosterone. I think that's how you say it, a performance-enhancing substance, either way you pronounce it. Alvarado will also be ineligible for the postseason, and this is a really, really big loss for the Phillies bullpen. He had a 2.70 ERA in 20 appearances. He is a key part of that bullpen for a number of years now. So really big news for the Philadelphia Phillies, losing Jose Alvarado not just for 80 games this season, but also for the postseason. So suspended by Major League Baseball for violating the performance-enhancing drug policy. Minnesota Twins are a headline in baseball right now. They've won 13 in a row. Their pitching staff is in the midst of 33 consecutive scoreless innings. Clayton Kershaw returned to the mound last night for the Dodgers after having left knee and toe surgeries this past offseason. He went 4 innings, 5 earned runs given up on 5 hits allowed. Yesterday against the Angels, Dodgers lost to the Angels for a second straight night. Max Fried looks to set the record for the lowest ERA for his first 10 starts of a season or a pitcher's Yankees career when he faces the Mets later today on Sunday Night Baseball. Fried is not allowed a run in his last 15 innings against the New York Mets. So a little preview of that one later tonight in the Bronx. And we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later as well. When we return, we'll hear from today's left fielder, Gavin Sheets. We'll also hear from Michael King coming up a little bit later as well. Our keys to the game and much, much more to do as we walk you up towards first pitch coming up at 1:10 here in downtown San Diego. You're listening to the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show right here on the Padres Radio Network.
Hello, my friends. It's Woodsy. Did you know your water?
Welcome back to the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show. Eco Water SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park as we get ready for today's game here on the Padres Radio Network. First pitch coming up at 1:10. Final game of this three-game series between the Padres and the Mariners before the Padres hit the road for a 6-game road trip to Toronto and Atlanta. Hope you're having a great Sunday. If you're on the way to the game right now, hope you're getting ready to enjoy a nice day of baseball here in downtown San Diego. The sun peeking out right now. We do have a lot of puffy white clouds up there as well, but shaping up to be a very, very nice day of baseball. Hopefully the Padres can come away with a win in this series finale. I had somebody give me a donut just a few minutes ago, a vanilla donut with rainbow sprinkles on it. So thank you to whoever gave me the donut. That's very, very nice of you. Hey, donuts on a Sunday. Why not? Maybe I'll have just a bite, just half. I'm trying to watch myself these days. All right. Anyway, let's tell you the latest on Yu Darvish.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Here is the latest on Yu Darvish. This was from Kevin Acee in the San Diego Union Tribune this morning. We know that Yu Darvish made that rehab start with AAA El Paso in Las Vegas on Wednesday. And Kevin writing earlier today I'll read exactly what he wrote here. What we know is that the plan is for Yu Darvish to head to Toronto with the Padres after today's game. He and multiple other people confirmed that yesterday. Again, this is Kevin writing. What neither Darvish nor anyone else will say is what the plan is for him once he gets there. It seems Darvish, who has been working back from an elbow issue since being sidelined in mid-March, will not make another rehab start, and the Padres appear likely to use a sixth starter on the 6-game trip to play the Blue Jays and the Braves. And then Kevin writing at the end there, stay tuned. So, according to Kevin's reporting there, doesn't seem like Yu Darvish is likely to make another rehab start. So it will be interesting to see where exactly he will slot in this rotation if he does make a start on this road trip at some point. So stay tuned to that. Sounds like a fairly distinct possibility that Yu Darvish may be back here pretty soon, as soon as next week at some point on this road trip. That's the latest reporting from Kevin Acee in the San Diego Union Tribune from earlier today on Yu Darvish. Well, we read the Padres starting lineup earlier today. We told you Gavin Sheets is in left field today. Sheets making his second start of the season in left field, a place he's played before. He has played a ton of outfield in the past when he was with the White Sox, but this season has not played out there a ton. And again, through 40-something games now, only the second time that Sheets has started in left field. Here was Gavin Sheets earlier today. I caught up with Gavin about playing left field.
All right, Kevin, obviously you've played left field before. You get that opportunity here today. What's sort of the checklist as you get ready for today's game to get back out there today?
Yeah, just get back out there, catch some balls, move around, get the footwork going, and, yeah, just get back out there. But excited to get back out there today.
To you, what are the keys to preparing to play a game in left field? Again, not that you haven't done it before, but you haven't done it a lot this year.
Yeah, just go through the checklist, find your spots out there, find the alignment, get some fly balls, some ground balls, just get recalibrated out there. So it'll be fun to get back out there today, though.
Saw Jason Hayward out there with you while you were out there taking fly balls. Any pieces of advice that Jason's offered kind of over the course of the season about playing left?
Yeah, I mean, not singular things, but just his presence out there, just to come out there today with me and be a part of that. And it just shows the special player, special teammate he is, and what he means to this team, this ball club. To get a guy like that come out there with you, and obviously multiple Gold Gloves, and it's just a good source to have.
When did you find out you'd be in left field today?
Oh, last night. But just been getting work in during BPs and stuff, and getting batting practice, getting live reads out there, trying to stay sharp. And it's good to get guys like Manny off their feet today. And that's the nice thing about being able to play different spots. And he's been grinding for us at third, and to get him off his feet and give him a DH day, that's important for me.
You played quite a bit of right field in your career. In your opinion, what's the biggest difference between playing left?
Just the opposite ball flights. Lefties, the ball's going to fade. Righties, the ball's going to hook. It's just kind of everything's the opposite from right. So it's not too much difference in terms of that, but just realizing that lefties are going to go to the left and then the righties are going to hook it a little bit more. So just understanding that, and it's not too much of a difference in that.
That was Gavin Sheets earlier today on the field at Petco Park. Again, Sheets in left field here today. Manny Machado DHing, so day out of the field for Manny. And Jose Iglesias playing third base today for the Padres and batting ninth. We'll hear from today's starting pitcher, Michael King, coming up a little bit later as well. First pitch coming up at 1:10 here in downtown San Diego. Let's give you our keys to today's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by El Centro Motors Ford. Meet your new Ford General Manager, Greg Ryan, now at El Centro Motors Ford, your new Ford truck, Bronco, and SUV HQ. Call Greg directly at 619-944-0774.
Key number one, somehow figure out Bryan Woo. Bryan Woo has a 2.84 ERA this season. He's also been incredibly efficient this season. Woo has gone at least 6 innings. In all 8 of his starts this season, has not thrown more than 100 pitches in a single one of those outings. So he is a very, very good young right-hander. Padres have to somehow figure out Bryan Woo today. Key number 2, and you could argue this is the key of all keys to today's game. Padres are a combined 0 for 15 with runners in scoring position in this series. It's a huge reason, you could argue the reason, why they lost last night's game in particular. Padres got to be better. Got to be better with runners in scoring position here today. That's key number 2. Key number 3, don't let them get rowdy. Yeah, we're bringing it back for a second straight day. Rowdy Tellez hurt the Padres again yesterday, hit a 2-run home run against them on Friday, a solo homer last night. After those 2 home runs, how about this? Rowdy Tellez now has 6 home runs and a 1033 OPS in 71 career at-bats against the Padres. Now, Tellez is a good player. 1033 OPS in 70-plus at-bats, 6 home runs. He has crushed the Padres. Don't let Rowdy Tellez do it again here today. He's back in the lineup for Seattle today, batting 5th and playing first base. Key number 4, don't let him get homer happy. The Mariners have 5 home runs in the first 2 games of this series. On the season, only the Yankees and the Angels have more home runs in the American League than the Mariners do. It's 61 home runs so far this season. And Cal Raleigh in particular has been really, really dangerous. He's homered in each of the first 2 games of this series. He has 3 home runs during an active 5-game hitting streak. Only Shohei Ohtani has more home runs than Raleigh this season. He's tied with Aaron Judge and Kyle Schwarber for the second most home runs in the majors this season. So Raleigh, as we've said throughout this series, you could very, very well argue he is the top offensive catcher in the game right now. He's not catching today, but he is batting second and DHing. So you got to keep an eye on Cal Raleigh back in the lineup today for Seattle. And that's a look at our keys to the game as the Padres try to win this series finale at Petco Park. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We take a look at scores from around the major leagues today. First, a look at the one final we have. Phillies beat the Pirates in Philadelphia today 1-0. They actually beat Paul Skeens, got a run against them. Skeens takes the loss in that game. Games going on right now, a lot of them. Astros lead the Rangers 4-3 in Arlington. In the 9th inning, Braves ahead of the Red Sox in the 8th inning, 10-4 at Fenway Park. Nationals beating the Orioles 8-4 in Baltimore in the 8th inning. Tigers lead the Blue Jays 3-2 in the 8th inning in Toronto. Reds beating the Guardians 3-1 in Cincinnati in the 7th inning. Marlins 5, Rays 1 in Miami in the 7th. Twins and the Brewers in Milwaukee 4-1. The Brew Crew lead that one. Cardinals and the Royals tied at 1 in Kansas City in the 6th inning. White Sox and the Cubs at Wrigley in the 6th inning. They're tied at 1 there. Games yet to begin aside from this one. A's and the Giants at 1:05 in San Francisco. Justin Verlander on the mound for San Francisco today. Angels and the Dodgers in LA at 1:10. Yusei Kikuchi on the mound for the Angels. Tony Gonsolin on the mound for the Dodgers. Rockies and the Diamondbacks in Arizona at 1:10. Chase Dollander on the mound for Colorado. Merrill Kelly on the mound for Arizona. And we do have Sunday Night Baseball a little bit later. Mets and the Yankees Subway Series in the Bronx at 4 p.m. David Peterson on the mound for the Mets and Max Fried on the mound for the Yankees. So a couple of lefties going at it in the rubber game of that 3-game series in New York. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday across the major leagues. By the way, we did just get notice of a lineup change. Nothing major, just a flip. We told you Jose Iglesias was playing third base and batting 9th. Elias Diaz doing the catching and batting 8th. Well, in fact, the Padres have flipped those two. So now it's Iglesias batting 8th and Diaz batting 9th. So the original lineup that came out today was first Diaz, then Iglesias, 8 and 9. Now it's Iglesias, then Diaz, 8 and 9. So just an update for you there. That was just passed along to us here on the broadcast side of things. When we come back, we hear from today's starting pitcher, Michael King, as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 1:10. You're listening to the Eco Water SoCal Padres pregame show from Petco Park on the Padres Radio Network.
You're listening to the
Our Rico Water SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Middle Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 1:10 in the series finale between the Padres and the Seattle Mariners. The loft is buzzing right now. Everybody enjoying their beers and their mixed drinks and all the great food that Petco Park has to offer. We have a ton of people playing pool. On the pool tables to my right, the Papa Shot, the pinball machine, everybody having a good time. Petco Park filling up on what is turning into a very nice Sunday afternoon. We'll hear from today's starting pitcher, Michael King, in just a moment. First, let's tell you what to watch for in today's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For, presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in today's game. We zero in on the 3 and 4 spots in the Padres lineup, and the gentlemen who take up those 3 and 4 spots, Manny Machado DHing and Jackson Merrill in center field, the 3 and 4 spots. And the question here today, can Manny and Merrill produce? The Padres 3 and 4 hitters, Manny and Merrill, a combined 1 for 16 with a single in the first 2 games of this series. Padres need him to produce in general, and especially with runners in scoring position. Can Manny and Merrill produce today in the heart of that Padres lineup? And that's what to watch for in today's game. Also, another thing to watch in today's game, Michael King on the mound for the Padres. His last couple of starts, 6 innings, 2 earned runs given up, 3 hits against the Yankees on the road. Then at the start of this homestand, 5 2/3 innings, 3 runs given up, 2 earned on 4 hits total. Padres lost that game on Tuesday against the Angels. I caught up with Michael King inside the clubhouse. Here was Michael first talking about his last couple of outings.
I definitely didn't have my A stuff, so I'm happy that I gave the team a chance to win in those games, but definitely a lot of room to improve in terms of it was kind of a flux of things. I had a really bad fastball command in one of them, really bad break ball command in another one, so I kind of got to get them all together, but luckily I haven't had one of those games where I had not a single pitch.
Since you've arrived in San Diego, we've talked to you a lot about your development as a starting pitcher since the beginning of last season. How have you developed in that sense, pitching when you don't necessarily have your A-plus stuff?
Yeah, that was a huge thing that Joe Musgrove talked to me about. I think it's part of my scouting report now to find soft contact opportunities. Obviously, I want to be strike 1, strike 2, and strike out every time out there, but there are so many times that I'm behind in the count or I don't have the pitch that I know I can get that swing and miss on. So I had to change my ways and know that in hitter advantage counts, there are still pitches to go to. And that was a big thing in my development to try to find those weak spots.
Taking a look at this Mariners lineup, they've been a pretty good offensive team so far this year. What stands out to you about them as you get ready for this start?
I think their command of the strike zone is really good. They walk the most in the big leagues. And when you got guys that walk, that means they're not afraid to get into two strike counts. They're going to stick with their own approach and make sure that they can have command of the strike zone and ultimately the count. So definitely a battle to get 0-1, 0-2. And then you got to beat them in zone when you do get there.
That was today's starting pitcher, Michael King, earlier inside at the Padres clubhouse. You heard from Michael King. Let's tell you more about Michael King and today's Mariners starting pitcher, Brian Wu, as we preview today's starting pitching matchup.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Michael King on the mound for the Padres. The 29-year-old is 4-1, a 2.32 ERA in 9 starts so far this season, 50 innings and a third, 56 strikeouts, and 16 walks. Last start against the Angels on Monday, he went 5 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs allowed, 8 strikeouts, walked 2, and gave up 1 home run. Made 2 starts against the Mariners last season, 1 in San Diego, 6 innings, 1 run given up, 1 in Seattle, 5 innings, and 1 run given up. So both outings very, very good for Michael King against Seattle last season. We'll see how he does today against what has been a pretty productive Mariner lineup so far this year. Meanwhile, right-hander Brian Wu on the mound For the M's, 25 years old. He's 4-1 at 2.84 ERA and 8 starts so far this season. 50 innings and 2/3. He struck out 50 and walked 8 on the year so far. Last start against the Yankees, he went 6 1/3 innings, did not give up a single run on 4 hits. That came after his roughest start of the season in Sacramento against the A's. Gave up 5 earned runs on 8 hits and 6 innings in that game. Made a start last season against the Padres in September. That was in Seattle. Went 6 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs given up, 2 hits allowed. Gave up a home run to Fernando Tatis Jr. in that game. So keep an eye on that matchup today. Fernando leading off for the Padres against Brian Wu. Wu has also struggled away from home. He has a 4.02 ERA this season in 5 starts on the road. You compare that to a 0.93 ERA in 3 home starts. So that'll be interesting today to see how Brian Wu does away from T-Mobile Park in Seattle, and that's a look at our starting pitching matchup today. Brian Wu on the mound for the Mariners, Michael King on the mound for the Padres. As always, thank you for listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. Let's set the table one more time for you as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 1:10. Padres come in 27-17 on the season. The Mariners are at 25-19. Padres not playing great baseball right now, just 2-4 in their last 6 games, including dropping Friday's game, dropping Saturday's game. And now the question here today, can the Padres pick up a win before heading on a road trip to Toronto and Atlanta? Well, we're going to find out in just a little bit. When we come back here on the Padres Radio Network, Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and then all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.